Rob's an attendee.
Not on here.
I think it's a good last time, I noticed. Yeah.
And around for the beautification class. Anytime I come beautify.
It's supposed to be a way to get it to stop zooming like that, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I can't figure it out, so we'll just leave it, I guess.
So I guess it's just gonna do it the whole time.
I don't know how to undo it.
I got that.
It probably just follows the voice. So if you're speaking, yeah.
All right, we'll call our August 25th meeting of the commission order. Please call roll, please.
Yes, Lindsay Kenyon, Penny Stevens here, Brian Donahue,
Here.
Mike Batchel,
Here.
and Amy Curry is present. Also, we have Tony Moore, Attorney Julie, and Attorney Sydney Darnell.
You have a form. We have the June meeting minutes, but we didn't have a July meeting, so we need to approve minutes. For your review, I think you had those in the packet. Any additions or corrections?
Like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, the minutes are approved. Okay. Financial update. Alan?
We have 2 invoices for the CED to pay, month of June, month of July. Because we didn't have a meeting this month, so those are the only invoices I got for anything this month.
I have a motion to approve the July and August.
Should I abstain from that, since I'm on that board,
July and August, yeah, July and August.
since I'm on that board?
Through that a little bit. I don't know that it's a problem to, if you're on the board, because this is an agreement that's been reached for the services of the CED. It'd be a different situation if the redevelopment commission was considering a contract to enter into with the CED for payment.
Okay,
See what I'm saying? This is something that's already there, so this is just, you aren't voting on a contract, you're approving a claim that's.
okay,
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I'm assuming that you don't have a pecuniary interest in anything that goes on.
I'm not sure what that means, but
You're not getting any of this money?
No.
Okay.
Yes, you.
You don't get any.
I get nothing.
He does have a non-disclosure or a conflict of interest filed for us as well on our side of that deal. I don't know if you guys have those or not with the city or so.
Yeah, I mean, we can get just a notice of that, but again, I don't have the conflict of interest statute requires you to file something if you have a pecuniary interest in the contract or something of that nature.
okay, fair enough.
I have a motion to approve those then. CD,
Make a motion to approve those and pay those.
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, hearing none, July and August CED claims are approved. The old business end.
So first thing, Mike was talking about public comments and what the council's doing, and do we need to do something similar or kind of stuff?
Would you like to talk about that?
Sure, I mean, it's up to you. This is your meeting, you can run it. So the council did pass some rules as it applies to public comment. When public comment is allowed, how long public comment is allowed for, because there are certain things in the Constitution which you can govern. Now, you can't govern the content, but you can have reasonable restrictions on the time, place, and manner of the speech. So if this commission wants to adopt something similar, we can put together local rules for you to govern public comment. You can say that you like the city's council's one, so that you want to adopt that. I mean, however it is that you want to go about it, you can adopt the rules or regulations to govern it. So.
I think I'll send this out to members to review the council's one that they've had.
Sure.
That way you can review their
And
resolution.
then briefly, is you can comment, you have to, correct me if I'm wrong. You have to write down you're gonna comment, then you've got 3 minutes.
You can make it whatever you wish to make. it.
I think it makes sense to keep it the same, because
That's
it's,
why I got,
there you go. So you're thinking,
thought we should review theirs and make it as close to theirs.
I think that's an excellent idea. Yeah, be consistent. Nothing
So
else.
we'll send out this out to everybody so you can review it. and
Hold on
take that
to
out
that.
there.
Sure, sure.
Any questions on that?
To vote on it, Joel, do we need to change one, or can they just say we're gonna follow these, but do we need like something?
I think it's cleaner to
Okay.
have something written up for the redevelopment commission. It can be basically the exact same language, except for we're referring to the redevelopment commission as opposed to the city council. All right.
You do that.
I can change the name in there from Calvary.
I'll do it. I wrote it down.
Thank you.
You got it.
Yep.
All right. You want to take this then, and you want this Roger to tell?
So business park update, Rob Sparks is here to kind of fill us in on where we're at and need some input from Julie and everybody else, I guess.
Yeah, for you folks that haven't, just kind of a reminder of where we're at. It kind of gives us the footprint of the park being Poets up here. Can you see it okay? See if I can fall over a chair before I'm done.
There we go.
Then we'll throw that microphone thing off. Anyway, we've been in the process of reestablishing our title or our contracts on the property for annexation. There's some title change issues with a couple of them we're helping work through. There has been a delay on some of these that would normally have been very easily done, and we're working through those case by case. We've had contact with 85% of the folks. We've sent everything out, but we are working through those to try to get one-on-one meetings.
Like 10 property owners? Yeah.
I think there was a total of 13 parcels, if I remember the number right in my head, so I'm feeling, we put a real second press to go out, drop some stuff in mailboxes over the weekend, or on Friday, actually, last Friday, and I've got one of the big farmers we're gonna try to meet this week, so I remain optimistic. It's been more challenging than the past for a variety of reasons, I think, but we're gonna try to work through each one of those and see where we can get as quickly as we can, so.
Who do you have, right? Do you recall off the top of your head?
Be down through this area right here,
Got Thomas Black, Washburn.
yeah, we've had conversations with these folks, that's the line.
Okay.
That'd be easier to do it than going Betty's and Drapers all through here.
You have Betty's and Drapers.
These are the ones we are in conversation, probably gonna meet this week.
Okay.
Conversations. Dropped a letter again. And this, we're working through some language. This one's signed. This one's got a deed problem. Not one that can't be solved.
Sure.
So we're kind of working through it. This house is currently for sale. It's kind of in a. I'm sorry. I'm upside down. No, I think it is this one. There's one for sale. It's actually in closing points. So we're kind of waiting for that to smoke to clear to be able to reach out to the.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
One of them didn't want to be a part of the city limits. We're trying to get one-on-one. They're happy to be part of the park and do a deal, but they didn't want to be part of the city limits. So trying to figure out if that was Mike's problem or. I actually don't know. That was surprising. So
Okay.
we're gonna try to figure out what that's about to see if we can mitigate that.
Okay. All right.
When there's 30 acres, one you said you had, this was in, or was it problem?
These are in, there's a deed problem up here.
Okay.
That little one.
Mr. Kemp passed away and there's title issue that we need to help solve for them, so. I don't foresee that's a problem. Actually, just talked person today about that at the clerk's office or associated with the courts, so.
As a poet, does that cause any confusion?
So when they've reached out to property owners, they haven't signed non-disclosure, so, it could very well be having problems.
I would think so.
So what we're trying to do is get enough disclosure from Poet that we're able to still communicate with people without signing NDAs and figure out how to mitigate that. So I don't really think the Poet project would impact us in any way, trying to advance the park. But it may have the property owners reticent of signing another contract with someone else when they're doing a deal potentially with Poet on a project that may or may not happen. So I actually think that may be part of the deal.
I think so too.
So
Are they signing mineral rights when they do that or not?
they, we haven't seen a finalized signed contract to say what their contract says, and that's part of this. You get too deep, and then if they want to do an NDA, because they're doing their own business model, they have to work through. It would appear that that idea is on our side to say, hey, if they want to retain underground rights of a potential project in the future, then that's probably something we could do with a future project. Sell the land. Indiana does have some examples of that. So it's just impossible to monetize something on a contract that may never materialize.
Because that is not a done deal by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and it's supported by tax credit project or carbon credits and things that are politically could swing in any direction and even disappear.
They have about an hour.
Well, it's still on time frame. I mean, by that, have it turned in by a certain date. Their for tax credit and all that stuff before it disappears.
Well, they have turned up their working the site, so I think they got positive signs from the EPA to continue to move forward on the project under the new administration. So
Well. What you got?
I'll be back next month. Let me give you an update next.
Sure. If there's anything we can do on our end, let us know.
Well, you made a recommendation. It was a great one. We talked about that this morning. So Warren helped us in the past and shows a lot of the folks and said if we have a problem, communicate with any of the property owners, he'd be happy to step in and help us out.
Yeah, Warren Brown. Yeah, so, yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Anything we can do. Perfect. Somebody told me the sign blew down out there.
Wow.
Yeah, has anybody seen that? I just found that out.
It blew across the street.
Huh?
It blew right
That's
across.
what,
the
yeah, it's right up.
Did it really?
Yeah,
Across 28?
yeah, but I think it blew away and then someone stood it back up so they know where it was at. I doubt it just sat right up against the telephone pole, but,
That must have just happened last weekend.
oh gosh, yeah, it was like tornado winds coming through there.
Was that last Friday?
Last Saturday.
Saturday.
Mhm.
We
The second
lost
round
the
of
shutters
storms.
up front of our house, which was like way crazy. It was called, it was coming from that northeast.
Yeah. And it was really weird because just a swath right there on 28. I'm on that highway. And the house across the street from me and next to my son's house ripped a bunch of siding off. Like I said, it looked like a tornado went through there.
Okay.
It threw limbs all over that
Who
sign.
puts those up?
We got a couple different sign companies that does that for us, so we'll get somebody out there.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna say, I was just out there, I
I
don't
don't know,
know,
Mark Thomas put that up.
must have been on Friday or Thursday of last week. I drove the whole site.
I think it just happened.
Yeah.
When I was on Saturday or something.
Yeah, I'll drive by on the way home.
Okay.
See what we gotta do, so.
All right.
Thanks for saying that.
Anybody have any questions for Rob? Appreciate you coming up, Rob.
Catch you guys up next week for sure.
That sounds good.
Thank
Thank you.
Humphreys Automotive.
Okay, so where it was
So
like just. the-
Humvees Automotive has asked for an statement because it is an automotive facility. It's under a certain caveat where this council, as the Redevelopment Commission, has to make a recommendation to the city council that the company be considered a economic revitalization area for the purposes of a abatement to Humphreys. And so
They cannot take that step unless this council makes that recommendation to them. So that's what's in front of you today is for recommendation.
The economic development target area.
Target area.
Is it in the tip area?
Sorry?
Is it in the tip area? This has nothing to do with it.
It does not. And, it has been a fun chore trying to map out your TIF.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And I still don't know how, like, I have a parcel here and a parcel here and a parcel here. Like, it is just spread out and it's not together. This is not that, this is defining this as a target area, saying that we need to get development in this area.
Basically, we're just saying this area is important for development.
And it's right there.
Property only.
That property and that's it.
Yeah, it's very much so. You already have the proposal written out?
Yeah.
I have the draft.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that had been emailed out.
We have.
Oh, you already have it. Do you want these? It's not labeled with the correct resolution number. I don't know what resolution you're on for 2025.
Yes. It's not big enough.
And this is similar to the ones you're using.
Just 3 inches.
The resolution is similar to the ones you use.
Yeah, because this is just the recommendation to find it as that target area.
I need a power line.
That is then gone to, goes up to the council. It's not because the abatement goes with, so like, you've got a very limited window in which the abatement's gonna cover. So really, it's for that time period to get that development.
I'm glad.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept this resolution.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, I got like 2 fingers over here and he's got like an
There you go.
So that's fine.
Okay.
So published an offering sheet that basically says the following parcels situated in Alexandria, Indiana, and it lists the 2 parcels, Hillside Edition, subject to restriction, easement, and encumbrance, commonly known as 0 North Pennsylvania Avenue, Anderson, Indiana. And it gives out the parcel numbers in Alexandria, gives out the parcel numbers for each. The minimum offering price accepted is $4,000 cash total, plus cost and expenses associated with the transfer of the Alexandria Redevelopment Commission. Requirements were the real estate shall be conveyed to purchaser by municipal quitclaim deed, subject to all covenants and easements restrictions, right-of-way records. As is, property shall be sold as is, and the 2 parcels must be purchased together. An offer cannot be submitted for one. The offering sheet was available in the mayor's office, Alexandria Building. Please submit offers to the office of the city clerk of the city of Alexandria by August 25th, 2025 at 4 p.m. So we had one offer that was submitted and stamped, which we will have some sealed. We had another offer that was submitted and not signed till after that deadline, and Jewel has those offices.
Oh, wow, that was it. I didn't realize it paid attention. Academy Award goes to.
So the first one is been provided by Amplio Development LLC, Derek Bryant. Offer terms. Purchase price $4,000 plus additional costs for fees, expert expenses associated with the transfer.
Where specifically is this property?
Next door to me.
Oh, okay, okay.
I knew he'd know about it.
It says offering price is $4,000 cash total for both parcels. The way that that sentence reads is I'm reading it as 4,000 total
Where I read it,
For both.
for both.
that's where I read it.
And I'm looking at the commas and to parse it out. I hand this over to my English person. Knows. She's actually an accountant, but
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's
she's a
where-
better writer than I am. So
All right.
it's on the next page. The offer terms.
On the offering sheet. $4,000 cash total for both parcels. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, and then when you look at that, plus on the front page of how they, at the bottom,
Ah, I see what you're saying. So I was gonna say, I wrote that. Are you asking whether I read their purchase price as,
the 4,000 or 8,000.
ah, I would read this to be 4,000. Mhm. They mirrored our language too.
And then this one is from Our House Builders. And it's in here for 4,200 on the land for the sale. Here's the problem that we run into. Do we know what time it came in?
Signed or unsigned?
When did we get the bid?
The one you hold right there,
Yes.
5 o'clock.
And did you receive a bid prior to that?
I received one via email, prior to that at
133.
that's what I've noticed.
And so it is the same amount. 4,200. So my recommendation to the council commission right now is to take this under advisement. Let us take a look at how these have come in, and then make a recommendation as to which one to accept if that works for the commission.
Yeah, that'd be no problem.
I have a motion to take it under advisement, the bids for one vendor. You're going to bring everything.
You need to make a motion. Okay, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Take that under advisement. RDC downtown TIF.
So we were talking about our desire to do something with the buildings that are struggling downtown, Jam Building in particular. I know Jules mentioned as a whole, getting the money in the budget related to COVID and that kind of stuff. But in order for us to expend our money, we need to add them to our target area, I guess, the downtown area. So what would be our steps in order to get to the point where we could pursue that? I know the jam is tied up in bankruptcy also, I believe, was the research. So where do we stand or what do we need to do with that part too?
The first thing we have to do is get a better description of what your allocation areas are. So when you talk about TIF dollars, so tax increment finance dollars can only be utilized to benefit the allocation area in which those taxes are captured. Right now, from the maps that I'm looking at it's the maps that I'm making based upon the allocation areas that have been given to DLGF and on Gateway. You essentially have one parcel and then some space and another parcel. So there's no defined allocation area. You just have individual parcels that seem to be treated as allocation areas. So the first thing I think we need to do is truly define and set up what allocation areas we want. I don't think that you have any debt that has been taken against any of the allocation areas, which means that the sunset time has not started to run.
Area be as big as you want to be, or it has to be,
It is however you're going to define it, but you have to understand this. Once we create the allocation area, all of the taxes in that allocation area for the increment, so the growth in taxes, are going to be captured 100% by the Redevelopment Commission. The other underlying taxing entities will still get the same amount of tax that they're getting right now. So the schools, the library will get the same tax that they get right now.
they're not losing any.
So they don't lose any money right now, but what they will not capture is the increment of the growth. So when you draw your maps, you have to be mindful of it. In looking at how they are right now, I don't know how we would utilize any of your allocation dollars unless it was for public safety. Because I don't know what projects that you could do that are going to benefit the allocation area, which are these individual one-off parcels, without that are just going to benefit that, other than through public safety,
As it stands right
as
now.
it stands right now.
If we change that area and expand it,
Correct. If you go through some planning and say, okay, here is the area that we really need to look at. And one of the things that you're going to want to do is kind of take a look at where they are right now, and does it make sense to draw a map to incorporate everything in there? My personal feeling in looking at what I've seen, it doesn't. Because they're so spread out. You have one property that is across the railroad tracks north of the McDonald's. Up there, I think across that, yeah. Just a single property right there. And you come down a little bit and there's like a Dollar General that is covered, and you come down some more and there's, and then there's a building downtown, a large one that's in one. And so I don't know how you're going to define a geographic area that's going to encompass all of those. That makes sense. Like what I could see is possibly one that encompasses development along the highway.
Corridor, yeah, like,
The corridor for the
Yeah.
highway, and then maybe a downtown one, and then maybe some, but I don't know how you can get the highway and downtown without essentially making the entirety of the city an allocation area. If that makes sense.
so we cannot say redevelop, purchase that property right now and say, go tear it down. Because it's not in the TIF area.
Well, we will have to make the determination that it benefits, that the expenditure of those dollars benefits the allocation area. I don't know how we do that.
Because it's not in the allocation.
Without identifying it as an allocation area.
What is downtown the center? You're welcome to top of your head.
That's another problem, I think.
Yeah, it's a random building. And
I'm
I'll,
not sure which.
I can't. When I was going through this, I was just for it. I started to make a list as to the parcel IDs for them. And then tried to put it on a map. I could not get a map that would work, that could cover all the areas, even on one of those larger pieces of parcel, that you could then actually still see which parcel it was that was identified. And that's how spread out these are.
Should we have some conversations with Baker Tilly about a proposal to redo this, or from a finance perspective, and then looking at the impact it would have, or part of what's your recommendations?
Yeah, I think the first thing is, so Councilwoman McCurry gave me a whole list of different parcels that she,
Was looking.
Go ahead.
yeah, a whole list that she had given me. And I've been trying to rectify and match that up with what has been filed with the state. So whenever you go through and create an allocation area, you're supposed to file that with the State Board of Accounts through the Gateway format so that everybody knows. So that on Gateway, there is a TIF tracker website, which is you're supposed to be able to see it. And it's in that TIF tracker that I've been trying to map this stuff out. And it's just not a very cohesive.
Do you have like dates of when those were? Is that recent? Is it forever ago?
It's been a while.
It was previous, because I was on redevelopment under Warren and Ron's administration prior to being back on redevelopment. And so the information I had to pass along was what information I had received during that term.
And out of ignorance, could you tell us what you would typically see in a small town? What that would typically look like? It sounds like you wouldn't see something here, there, and.
Not these individual parcels. And so, we represent several communities, right? And talk about like when we look at Danville, Indiana, you have their downtown main area, which is an allocation area. You have their west side development around 36, where they know that there's going to be a lot of growth, and they've got a 400-acre parcel that's going to be developed with residential in the back area, but mixed-use development along 36. That's a perfect area because it's a farm field to capture. So they've got those designated. When you look at Plainfield, another one, all of those warehouses that are on the north side of Plainfield, they're all within an allocation area. Right? And so they're able to capture all of it. So that was a farm field. They captured the entirety of that increment. Problem they're having right now in Plainfield is those are going to expire soon. So it's going to be, how do we roll all of that money back into all of the underlying taxing entities without absolutely cratering the tax rate? Because you have your maximum assessed valuation, which that is the most that you can get. And if you dump in tens of millions of dollars of assessed valuation, it's actually hundreds of millions of dollars of assessed valuation that comes out to millions and millions and millions of dollars of taxes generated into that. It's going to crater the individual tax rate, which then makes it much more difficult to raise it. I mean, to bring it back up, technically not a bad problem for the residents of Plainfield, but just planning future wise, it's a little scary.
I think it is a bad. We saw that with the school. We saw that we had a very low tax rate, but then trying to do that referendum and trying to promise people that, oh, it's only gonna be 50 cents for heaven's sakes, But it was just because they were used to that. I hope we never brought back. We've got to stay and able to make improvements.
But anyways, in communities, you find the areas that you want, because what is done is you take those allocation dollars and you reinvest it into that same area to promote additional growth, right? Plainfield's warehouse area started with a warehouse, a single warehouse, but they captured that money and put some infrastructure and it led to the second warehouse. then it led to a third, then it led to all of this expansive growth and investment in there. Which allowed that to happen, and then that allowed Perry Crossings had to happen. It used to be called Metropolis, I think. All of those things are tied in through the TIF because it benefits that allocation area, which in turn benefits the town because you're going to increase the tax rate for things to do.
So until you get the map kind of put together, it's kind of hard to tell.
Well, until we know what your area is going to be, I think it is impossible to make the determination that it benefits that allocation area on any expenditure of your TIF dollars outside of public safety.
So you've got a building that's falling down out here. I mean, that's a public safety issue.
It's public safety. Generally, when you have a building falling down, it's not necessarily a redevelopment issue. It is more a building inspection, unsafe premises issue that may end up in front of our next board meeting, who is the hearing authority on unsafe buildings.
Okay, so it would go to planning and they would say, hey, this building's unsafe, it's gonna collapse. We need to do something with them. Then they would go to council and get the funds.
Planning would make a recommendation of whether it needs to be condemned or not and pass that.
And then if it's condemned and unsafe and can't be rehabilitated, then it would be torn down.
It's being held up by boards or something.
City.
What if those properties are on a tax sale?
If they're on tax sale, are those properties?
I believe so.
When is it coming up for the tax sale?
October.
Okay, my recommendation at that point would be either we would have to move quickly, but to set up an allocation area which incorporates that area into it, a determination made by this council to this commission to go after and put in a bid on the tax sale, or have the council, the city itself, go and try and get this out of the tax sale and make the bid to that, to hold it. Now, the problem with this is on these properties, let's say it's $7,000 in taxes that looks to be owed. If that is paid in, that gives you the right after a year.
After a year, because they can come back within a
You
year.
come back and redeem it and pay the taxes and they get it back.
Does the city then get their money back? I mean,
Yeah.
that's not your end goal, but
So you would get the fund, like, it's not like you're out the money.
correct. Sounds like your shortest path would be to have the city go to it versus trying to recreate an allocation area. That'd be your quickest path.
Right.
Yeah,
See, that have the funds to bid on it.
Is that an entire list of properties?
this is a list of all
Second.
properties in Alexandria that are on the tax sale start in October. And there's houses, trying to look at various houses and stuff like that. So really redevelopment doesn't go in and say, hey, there's this house over here needs to be torn down. That's not a function of this board.
It is out.
That's the city goes after that. What we have to do, correct me if I'm wrong, is number one, to define our TIF area. What's in that? The funds that we generate are for those areas only.
You have to be able to make for the benefit attachment to it. With the thought process, like Plainfield is one of the really good examples of it. That by spending money and capturing funds and putting it back into this allocation area to increase the size of it, leads to growth for the community in general, outside of that allocation area.
Okay.
So we just tie in this housing development program that we're looking at. Wonder about that.
It could, because you want to have the right housing stock here. Now, one of the things when you talk about housing development programs, oftentimes, no, I'm kind of
You're good.
moving off.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
That's with housing development programs, depending upon how it's done, oftentimes you see it run by a separate 501c3 to get some grant funding or things like that to help run it through. One of Terre Haute has Thrive West Central. It's a 501c3. It gets grant money from the county, from the city, from all this that goes through and works to set up residential housing development units. Now, that is separate from a HOTIF, which is a housing allocation area, basically. So we know that this area is going to be developed into a housing neighborhood. You pass what's called a HOTIF. So it's a housing allocation area where you're capturing the increment on that.
Those would be existing houses, or that'd be,
It does,
doesn't have to be either way.
well, you're only capturing the increment, remember. So if they're existing, you're not really gonna capture much there. It's going to be the new construction that you capture the most money, but then you gotta put that back into that allocation area to benefit that area. Generally speaking, a lot of communities want to stay away from the residential, because if you have a general allocation area, which has a lot of commercial stuff, and you have housing units in there, those can actually draw down on the allocation value that you get. So people try and take the housing unit out and then just have a commercial one, and then now use a HOTIF as the separate allocation area.
The housing allocation area that you're talking about, Mike, like what is your insight on that, or what?
I'm just saying, we're able to do that based on where that was.
Yeah, the statute.
I'm just saying, if we could older homes and redo them ourselves, or.
That's what I was wanting to know, what your thought process was on.
But I didn't know what was involved in that, so I didn't know if we could do that or not.
Right.
I-
So,
yeah, I
so
think
that would
that's
be
fine.
more along the lines of the finding a 501c3 and doing the grant funding. I don't love the idea of a municipality being in the business of.
I understand that, but.
So you're thinking more rehabbing versus.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to get something started, and maybe that would like somebody else to do the next one. That's why I'm thinking.
No, I was just curious as to, thank you.
So what do you think our next move should be?
For which one?
Back to the.
Back
RDC.
Yeah.
RDC.
I think the best idea is we can get on the phone with Baker Tilly. What I would like to do is sit down and talk to Cam Starnes, who's with our firm, who just lives in the RDC world. In that, all the development you've seen in Plainfield, he's been the one that's handled all of that documentation and stuff like that. So whenever I just want to pick his brain as to what he thinks looks right here, just from a development point. So if we take that whole corridor along the highway, does that make sense? For development, it might. So it's coming up with a geographic map to kind of outline where this area should be.
Wouldn't Baker Tilly have our TAP? I mean, they gave us this report.
They give you a report of what you've collected.
Yeah, and it says, property projects funded with TIF revenues, property demolition assistance, historic building preservation, economic development, business park support.
But when you look through the report, if I remember correct, this is what you have. They have never been able to draw and lay out what your allocation area is.
They don't know.
Because I don't think that they know, given the way it's been done. What this is this is the generic.
Yeah, that's just like an idea.
It is.
Example.
But this is what you have, like, normally what I would have is, here's allocation area 1, and the boundaries, here it is. Then you turn, here's allocation area 2, here's allocation area 3. Right now, we know where. You're collecting money off of certain parcels.
That's just leaving money on the table, basically,
It takes away the best
opportunities.
that you have, because you cannot strategize how to utilize the funds in the way that.
Yeah, we're gonna do something.
So you'll get with Baker Tilly then and see if we can.
Yeah, we've had some conversations with Baker Tilly, already about this a little bit. Sent me down a spiral to the point where I talked to Amy and she gave me a bunch of documents. And
Well, sounds like we'll have another conversation about this. Any other questions?
A million.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do we get that jam property, another property? And that's really not for this commission at this point, based on the way we're structured. Is that a true statement?
it is,
Okay, so we have to look at a different angle. Okay,
which you may have given us one.
okay. You need this or it's on.
No,
that-
we know it's in the tax sale and we know when it is, we've got information, so.
So okay, I don't need to do anything else with
So we would
that.
need the council to authorize, if they're gonna want to vote to provide funding to purchase that property in the next.
Either that, or if there's something,
It's already been authorized, previously, but
yeah, through the appropriations and budget, that you have a budget category and line item that would allow for that expenditure.
we got an idea, so, okay.
We have,
We actually, have, yes, there's some ideas we have for that.
I do have a question on the tax sale, if I can ask that. You go through the tax sale, the city does it. Obviously, it's not RDC questions, but I'll get legal again. If this goes through the sale and nobody bids on it, can the city and or a organization ask that that tax certificate be given to them?
I mean, you'd have to go to the commissioners and the commissioners would then ask, why should I give it to you if I can take it?
Okay, because we want to redevelop our town and it's falling down. I give you a whole list.
I know what you're gonna say. I know what I had to deal with when I was trying to get some legislation.
But I'm sorry, but it has, okay, I guess, give me, I never recall. So, it has to go through this process first and you have to wait a year.
They get a redemption. So if I'm the property owner and I own taxes, you buy the certificate for that, for the amount that I owe taxes on.
Yep.
I have 1 year to pay that money back and I get my property back.
And if nobody accept, then is it the
And
same?
if I don't, then it's yours.
Is it the same thing if it's given to the city?
Well, if the city buys the right at the tax sale, it's the same. If it is assigned to the city after
Nobody bids.
nobody bids, then it would be the same because nobody has redeemed it.
In this case, somebody did get the tax certificate at the last sale, they did not redeem it. So
On which property?
the two we're talking about.
Oh, the individual did not.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind, those two is not the entirety of that strip. There's one more that did not get sold tax sale, but an individual did bid on those two, did get those as a certificate. And ultimately, he didn't redeem them. Just to get the tax deed for it. He just had the certificates, but he did not go and get and redeem it.
Found out what he bought. He or she. All right. They. Okay, it's just frustrating. Okay. It's not just me, is it? No. Okay. Sorry, I mean, just want to get free legal advice there. Thank you.
and on another note with that, just another downtown building I saw today where John Steiner's for sale for $35,000. So someone has apparently then taken
Ownership,
John Steiner.
I didn't, weren't you aware of that? Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Well, that whole, okay. this
What
is-
do you-
I guess- No,
Can I ask a question since we're asking questions about properties? I noticed the Willows
it's for sale.
is for sale and I mean, the people that had it from California, obviously let it sit there. It's, I would think would be.
What's it listed for? You know?
You know, that was one of my questions. I don't.
400 and some thousand
Oh,
dollars more.
460.
Oh my goodness. The guy from California still owns it because it went to tax list. Somebody else bought it. He paid his taxes, so he got it back.
Okay. I won't pass on that, by the way.
We know what he bought that for? You don't know when. 200.
No, it was that much. I want to say like 120 or something like that.
Well, it's certainly an eyesore.
Yeah, amen.
We have got prices to demo in the past, and that number was like $300,000.
Yeah, yeah,
You could put something beautiful.
or, amen. Okay. All right,
Okay, going on, any new business coming for the commission?
Got a lot.
Other than all those as we talked about.
yeah, no, that was my new business.
Any other comments before we adjourn? Next meeting will be September 22nd here at City Hall, 5:30. Take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
1 second. 1:40.
Thanks, Dex.
Yep.
Just gonna leave this rubbed in. It's remarkable.
Still here, 5:30.
That has not changed. He said he'd bring some. He said it would have to be. Okay, I'm your, yeah. You're crazy. No, I remember you.
I like to have been
Whenever you
studying that.
I didn't send a reminder.
Really surprised.
I need to see them. Mine.
Deputy Mayor Christmas assassinate.
That's done.
That's
That's what I do, so
Right.
I was surprised. Found it. I can remember finding it.
I don't need
Come
this.
to my house.
You got like shred bombs or anything like that, or? I've got one, take it down.
Did I take some?
We're gonna need a few.
Okay. We still have building commissioners.
You don't have a
Resources? We don't. Oh, I was gonna say.
Oh, you have one.
Take one page.
It's just not here.
It's not here. Well, if you're not here, are you really?
Dad, what? Are you on this one too? Oh, this one, yeah, I know the feeling.
Oh, I do. Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, do we need to sign something? Oh, not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
How funny.
We finally
Yeah.
got, so the first 3 pages are,
I need to.
oh, sorry.
Please, let's get, let's get up.
All right, it is 6:22 on Monday, August 25th. We'll call the planning commission to order. Oh,
Her head just.
Yeah.
the button.
We'll start with the roll call. Donna Key, present. Debbie Smith, Lindsay Cuneo is present. Christina Long, Sarah Follows, Manette Frazee is absent, and Is it? She's the only one that's different. All right, we have the city attorney present. We have 2 representatives from the city present. We do have enough for a quorum today. Do we have minutes from not last month, but June's meeting?
Sorry, I'm writing. I didn't hear what you said.
Meeting, approving the minutes from the June meeting.
2 months worth of minutes.
Okay, so we've got June and May. You had sent those out, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Do we have any corrections, anything that needs to be changed? Or do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as of last month, for sure. I don't remember the other one.
Okay, so 6:23 we have to approve, and then we have to approve 7/28.
Okay, so June and July. So you have a motion to approve last month.
Just want you to know.
Okay, do I have a second? So, a motion by Donna, a second by Deb for approving last month's minute. I'll make a motion to approve the June minutes.
Take a vote on the first one.
Okay, okay, that's right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then I'll need a motion on the June minutes. The motion by Christina, I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to our old business. We do have an update from old business here.
It's not concerning any specific property, but it's just a general outline of procedures because I know we've had a lot of conversations over the past couple months about kind of the planning commission's role as the hearing authority and also the building commissioner's role as the enforcement authority. And so what I did was create a document just as a general kind of checklist for your reference. So it can be used as we talk about properties and you know, as the building commissioner raises certain properties that he has concerns about or that he's talked with the property owners. So the first 3 pages, I stapled them all together and in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have. The first 3 pages are just on the building commissioner's duties, but because he gives a report, you know, monthly, I thought it would probably be good for you guys to also have the building commissioner's kind of overview of procedures. The last 2 pages are more about the planning commission's authority. So I kind of split it up distinctly.
And it is the planning authorities, planning commission's authority under the unsafe building law as the hearing authority,
Okay,
not your statutory plan commission.
sure.
I
Just
put it-
specific to the unsafe building.
Correct.
I put it in terms of our, you know, your language though, so that it would be easier to follow. But yes, under the Indiana Code's unsafe building authority or unsafe building code section. So kind of just outlines, it's not exhaustive, it's very technical. Truly, I think when it comes to these, if you have a question about, you know, whether a hearing can be continued or whether you can modify an order, there's very specific procedures. So I would always suggest, you know, asking us and we'll double check the language of the statute, but in terms of a bird's eye view of this is this timeline of events, this is a really good timeline. But I don't want everyone to think that this is every single provision in the code because there were some, you know, maybe some atypical situations that you could find yourselves in as the hearing authority that I didn't go into too much detail, so it wasn't an overflow of information. But I think as a starting point, this will be very useful. And I know that 2 months ago, when your building commissioner was here, he was talking about, you know, he wanted to start the process of, you know, drafting orders and sending them out. So this includes everything that he'll need in those orders under the statute and just kind of will tell him that, you know, the notice that needs to be done. And obviously, as I mentioned to him 2 months ago, we'll review all of his orders to make sure that it meets the statute, but just so you kind of know what to expect as he brings the orders before the hearing authority, which is you guys. So,
Thank you.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's a lot of information, so feel free to review it at your convenience and then we can always answer any questions in the future.
What, let's see. Okay, so just on it, like repair or rehabilitate the building, would that include like when we've had all these roof, however you say it, done? Is that where that would fall?
I think so, but Joel, I'll defer to you. There's also seal. So I mean, it could fall under either, I think, of those actions. There's, you know, an enforcement where you need to seal the property or you need to seal the building itself. But I suppose like a faulty roof could also fall under repair or rehabilitate.
Yeah, so it depends upon how it and the impact it's going to have on the structure itself. So you have several different layers. One is habitability. Can somebody live there? You can have a building that is not habitable, but is still a safe building in that the structure is okay. You just need to repair a roof or repair a hole in the side or whatever. But the bones and the wiring and everything is still good so that you can make it work.
Okay.
So it all depends. With, you know, we had an issue, I think it was last week, regarding roofs. There are a couple different levels when you come to a roof. Sometimes you are repairing, like you're taking the roof and the decking and everything off and repairing it, like there's a hole in the roof, we've got to repair that. That's gonna take a building permit, because you're actually doing work. If you are just stripping off shingles and replacing shingles, that may not rise to the level of a repair. It is the replacement of something. And so it may not need a permit. There's a whole, I think that's kind of like just like there's a lot of nuance that can be added to your hearing authority thing, there's a lot of nuance that goes to the building commissioner as well. As to, does this fall under X, or is it part of Y, or is it Z, or is it D? And so each one is a little bit different. This is just a good guideline as to how to move forward. I think one of the most important things here, what I like about this is it shows you the delineation between the commissioner who's the trying to enforce and you as the hearing authority. First meetings that I had in front of you guys was you are the hearing authority. You are supposed to be impartial and not directing the investigation and everything. That is the building commissioner. You hear what the building commissioner has to say, what the property owner has to say, and you make the determination after that. You know, one thing, and you, Lindsay, when you were talking the last meeting, you had said you'll make the recommendation to the council. It does not go to the council. You are the hearing authority for an unsafe building. If you determine it to be unsafe, that is the order of condemnation. The next place that they go would be if they want to appeal it to the courts. And so.
I have a question. If we are not guided as a board hearing these items, what is our purpose?
As a board?
Other than like identifying unsafe buildings, like if we are not presented with things that we need to hear, then what is our job? Because I feel like a lot of times we don't have representation from the person that does this full time. And so we come here every month and we talk about the same stuff in general and it's nothing gets done. And it's just really frustrating because it makes me want to go out and say, well, I need a list of some of these places because I live right in front of 3 houses that I would absolutely advocate that need to be taken down. I know that's not my role, but I feel like we are feeling like we're spinning our wheels.
Two different
We're
buckets.
wasting our time.
And ways, I've contemplated just resigning off this board.
Here are the 2 different buckets. Bucket 1 is hearing authority, what this is.
Sure.
There's very little that you can do until a charge is brought to you to move forward as the hearing authority. Okay. And so it is what it is. Your other bucket is the plan commission. And this is where I was a little bit, again, when I started, like, wait, you guys are the hearing authority because as a plan commission, your job is to consider land use and zoning, right?
Okay.
So if there's a rezone, you are the body that is supposed to have the public hearing and make the that's where you make the recommendation to the council as
Okay.
to favorable recommendation for rezone, unfavorable, no recommendation, right? We ran into that with the house over there. That is the crux, like most plan commissions spend their time on that, the land use part of the aspect. Now, that goes kind of hand in hand with what the last meeting was. There may not be a lot for you. People may not bring rezones or, you know, if you talk about the BZA, which is kind of associated with it, you know, the variances and stuff like that. But there may not be rezones or PUD requests or things like that if there's not a lot of development going on in the community. By the Redevelopment Commission kind of kickstarting that through getting allocation areas and finding monies to put into areas to prop up and encourage development, you can get into a situation where you'll have more and more public hearings. You know, use some of the examples in Danville. Every single month, we have plan commission meetings for the town of Danville. And that town will always have something on it, whether that be a primary plat, a secondary plat, a final plat, a PUD because Wawa wants to come in. You know, there's always something under the planning rules that the commission has. But that's because they're going through this time period of growth. And a lot of people are wanting to buy property for that is one thing, and turn it into something else. Until we get to that point, there may not be a lot.
Okay.
Do planning commissions typically meet regardless if they have something, or do they meet more when they have this thing?
If there's no business, so if you do not have a rezone or you don't have a unsafe building issue, you don't have to have a meeting. So
We probably would never have them.
Right.
And that's, I know that sounds funny, but that's true.
Well, here's the thing. Ever since I've been in this position, I've created the agenda and I'm a volunteer. Like, I don't feel like that's my role. So I didn't make an agenda this time because I don't have there's no business. I've not been given any business. But I don't feel like that's I feel like there still needs to be an agenda, but I don't think I don't think I'm supposed to be the one that makes it.
Especially if there's no.
Well, and that it's like, it's a waste of time because then we all come here and then.
And we can set up the agenda in a way that's just where it's the general provisions of call the meeting to order, take roll call, consider minutes, and then old business, new business,
Comments.
hearings. And then all we have to do then is we have that template. Once we have new business, and let's just say that there is a building or a hearing or that a charge is being on, then we can add that on there, public hearing, stuff like that.
Okay,
If we don't have anything to put in there, then
there isn't a reason for it.
there's not a reason for it
Okay.
to come together.
Okay.
And we don't have to waste you guys' time either.
Right, you come all the way up here.
Cindy loves it. She asked me questions the entire time.
Yeah, no, I get them in a car and I just have questions the entire time, so yeah, it works out.
I don't like it so much. Fine, fine.
She's grilling him, she's grilling him. Putting him under pressure.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Is there any other questions? Is our roll still? Is there any new business that we need to address, speaking of?
I can say this. So just since the storms came through with the hail, there's been a tremendous number of requests for
Building permit?
building permits. When I got back today, I was told that there was 7 just today.
Uh-huh.
So pretty much that's what he's doing is, and people obviously up there helping him to get him processed, but far more than I can ever remember, much larger number than anything remotely close to what the number is now because of that. It'll obviously die down as the buildings get fixed or redone or whatever, but right now there's a daily large number of people for building permits.
The people that, excuse me, the people that bought the old Yule house up here on Lincoln Avenue stopped me I was having lunch, and one of the people that was with them was from Alexandria, and she said, "Here's the one to talk to," and I thought, what is this? And they started asking questions about that property. Do I need a permit for this? Do I need a permit for that? Blah, blah, blah. I have to have a permit to wash my house, power wash. I said,
Well-
you need to talk to the building commissioner.
That's paint.
Yeah.
That's paint. I don't know.
That's the first thing that popped in my mind. That's a wood house.
But he has done a good job of processing them and getting out to people. There's been a very large number. I'm trying to find extra help, but so far I've not been successful.
And say, following up on that, since several of us got an email from a gentleman questioning the roof permit. I mean, what was the decision on that? Because that made total sense to me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was given to us, and then we opined on that. We're still digging through because some of the language that he had sent out, we don't see it in your ordinance,
Okay.
but generally speaking, it's kind of what I talked about earlier. Generally speaking, there's a difference between replacing and then
Yeah.
repairing or mitigating things of that
But
nature.
you'll let us know.
So we're
Okay.
gonna
I just
communicate.
want to make sure somebody had addressed that because I mean, it was like, I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Well, even with the roof, the building permits, I think one thing that we had talked about a few years ago is more or less just now's the time to get the process together. So if it's, like I've noticed, building permits still in windows where roofs have already been done. So like even just that process, okay, once they're done, that's the permit supposed to come up, right? Aren't they supposed to come back up?
Try to get them.
So yeah, I think it's just more or less having some sort of, it all comes down to
I
systems
will
and
say I spoke
processes.
to him on Friday, and I was up here today, and the Stuckey house is huge.
Oh, I'm sure,
And
I'm sure.
he has been checking because he noticed that, like, he knows the permit authorities expires today,
Mhm,
but they're not finished.
mhm.
So he has been doing that. I do know that.
Okay.
And I saw a couple houses that didn't have a permit, but I don't know what the difference is. Does
Yeah.
everybody have to have one, or, so that's
Well,
what
yeah,
I'm
I
calling
think it depends on
Yeah.
this,
Type of the work.
yeah.
about. It turns out they were supposed to have one. They thought they were flying in for a day and flying out.
Any other comments?
Oh, I was gonna say, I know I have some extra copies of this procedural, but I can email it to you, so you also have it online in case anything happens, and then I'll send it to Bill as well, so everyone has it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I do think he's been super busy.
He's a super nice guy too.
Yeah, and he has done a lot more than what we have seen. I don't know how many years you've been on here, but I've been on here probably 7 or 8 years. I've seen a lot more things coming in front of us in the past few months than we have the whole entire 8 years, so.
I get that. I just also think accountability is very
I
important
agree.
too, from
I
the
agree.
other side of like,
I totally agree.
if in order for us, like even, it's just like the value of our time to spend to come to these meetings, right?
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to be on a board that I don't do anything on, right? And that's kind of what I'm feeling like at this point. So. Is there anything else you want to cover? If not, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
The motion to adjourn, I'll second.
Motion by Donna, second by Deb. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, we'll see you next.
All right, now wait a minute.
Oh, maybe. You're right.
We need to sign, right?
Sign this one. You can sign it.
I need it.